Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Live from Saturn. I'm Frank Green.
Cody Decker.
Duncan Gale.
And today we're going to be going over the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney+.
Okay, thanks, Frank. So, this is the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which just came out in the spring of 2022 as we are recording this. And, so this series, directed by Deborah Chow, who has mostly done other TV work. She's also done episodes of Mr. Robot, Iron Fist, we all love that, Jessica Jones, Better Call Saul, and, of course, The Mandalorian.
Oh, just everything.
Yeah. So
wow.
A lot of different stuff, yeah. And this series stars Ewan McGregor, of course, as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, I saw he was in like another movie with Star Wars.
Well, we'll see how good of memories we have of that.
Yes.
And also stars Moses Ingram, who I think is the real kind of standout here as third sister of the Inquisitors. We have Vivian Lyra Blair as the young Princess Leia. Kumail Nanjiani is in here, playing a very entertaining role, I think. And we have Flea in here as well, for some reason. And
Flea?
then
He's a bassist from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, he plays the guy that kidnaps Princess
Yeah.
Leia.
What? Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have Hayden Christensen and some guy named James Earl Jones portraying Darth Vader. So,
All right.
this is the third Disney Plus Star Wars series after The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett.
I watched Mandalorian season 1, loved it. Season 2, I was like,
Awesome.
I'm not happy with some things happening here.
I'm not either.
And then I did not bother with Boba Fett after seeing some scenes from it.
Yeah, you saved yourself.
Because after The Mandalorian and just seeing like them reacting, I was like, oh, they accidentally let a good show happen, and now corporate decisions are going to start being made.
And they were. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett for me, and I get it. It's hard. You're building pretty much a whole character off of 15 minutes of film time.
Right.
Where you don't. I mean, the only way we know about Boba Fett is in comics and different things like that.
Yeah.
The normal person does not know, and they kind of just did what they did with Batman in the 80s.
Right.
Here's this bounty hunter that should be like, that's what we wanted to see. And you gave us this, fluffy, I care about people, Boba Fett.
With no logical transition.
Oh, absolutely
Besides, we need to make them viewer friendly.
Well, in the end, there's this big fight that everyone's getting shot, no one's getting killed, right? Which was was the bad part.
Yeah.
Then
the climax of The Mandalorian season 2 was just like,
And
this doesn't matter anymore.
And he goes, I'll be right back. And you're thinking, oh, he's going to go get Slave One. Logical aspect. Right. And then just shoot up everybody. But no, I'm going to go and come back, riding on the Rancor like a bull riding. Yeah.
So that going into this, that was my okay, how corporate is this show gonna be?
I get it.
Because after season 2, I'm like, I don't trust you guys anymore. Bill Burr, you nailed it. Outside of that, I'm like, I'm seeing this like people say Star Wars is child friendly. I don't really. I mean, because I don't know what they're like, oh, it's for children. I'm like, I don't really see what makes it for children that they don't swear or
Well, that's probably it.
Because but season 2 of Mandalorian was definitely made more for younger audiences, much more accessible to them.
And it's like almost you couldn't trust the Mandalorian to run a series on its own without bringing back Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
As the cash cow.
The only part that I liked was how video game the plot started becoming, where it's like, stand here for 5 minutes and protect the area while Baby Yoda does this thing, and there's like a ring, and you can't leave the area while stormtroopers come in.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun! I never thought of that.
It's such a video game storyline. I liked that. I guess this was a game that we're working on that didn't get made.
Yeah.
We'll put it into the show. But
So, what did you think? Were you surprised then?
Like Kenobi?
Yeah.
It was better than I thought it was going to be going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only bumped into a few issues where I'm like, that doesn't really. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, especially the climax. I'm like, well, I mean, what do you mean you walked away? That doesn't.
Well, there were a couple things that I didn't like. Like I said, I watched it twice. Well, first time I liked it. Second time I listened to people's advice like that, and I was blinded by Star Wars, and I saw some of those things where, yeah, you could have problems with. Like a lot of people had problems with. Here's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it just the theme was, I'm gonna kill you, but I'm just gonna walk away, which didn't make any sense.
So like the first time I'm like, okay, you have hubris, that's fine, but then when the other guy does, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah. And then the whole thing where all of a sudden here's Obi-Wan Kenobi with all the rocks in the land, But that's from Clone Wars. You see, that's what I mean. If you watch Clone Wars, you could see how much the more they made the Force more powerful in Clone Wars.
That's the interesting thing I see where like the original trilogy really didn't do much with like the powers people have.
No.
Right.
So you see like I also like how I have not seen Darth Vader be done wrong in any of these things. Like every time he's shown, I'm always like in Rogue One or whatever. It's always like he is always like he doesn't get like written poorly.
Well, that's what as Star Wars fans, I speak for myself. Mm-hmm. Rogue One was the first time we saw him like be Darth Vader. Because if you think about it, as most of the movies you see him in, he's not really doing much. Yeah, he's that Force. He's not. But I mean, Rogue One, he was just taking dudes out. And it's kind of like when you saw Wolverine in the X-Men movie.
Right. Where
they release him and that's what we were waiting for. Yeah. We were waiting for him to just tear people up.
I would say it looks like he's been improved as looking like a menacing villain in the extended stuff. I don't know.
But I didn't like the first fight. The first fight I thought was weak.
Yeah.
It was very typical to A New Hope. Very typical to, I'm just like not really doing nothing. But it made up for the last.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was very one-sided. But, well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that, we're clearly all coming into this, I think, with pretty strong emotions. Because, I imagine we're all pretty big Star Wars fans to some degree or another. And, I mean, for me, certainly the original trilogy, I mean, they're like holy scriptures to me. I mean, everything else,
is the Dead Sea Scrolls.
That's right. Or the apocryphal.
Just adding onto it, throwing stuff in there.
Throwback to the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting to think like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, is this series, is this like the actual prequel that we wanted? Like, all of those other prequels, did they go like too far back in time? And it's like, what we really wanted to see was Darth Vader, right? And we want to see him engaging in the business of running the Empire, and what's really going on there? Yeah, and again, as you mentioned, we got to see that a little bit in Rogue One. We get to see that more here, and obviously just getting new footage of Darth Vader portrayed by James Earl Jones, does really feel like a treat. It's like, I mean, it's like, there's not much more of that we're probably going to be able to get, right?
No.
And so,
I saw he was 90.
Yeah.
And they probably take about 45 takes for him just to say something.
Right.
Yeah, my theory is they had him pre-record just individual words,
and then blunts it together.
And then they're like, we'll splice the dialogue. Yeah. That way we don't have to, because it's like we're on such a time limit with this guy, like any second.
Right.
So it's just like we'll start with the big words and then we'll work our way down.
Because he'd be like, so bad.
Yeah.
So what was it? Where's my sandwich?
Well, okay, we got Ben. That's good. We got Ben. Splice that.
There you go.
Okay.
Now, what I did like about it is, and we saw this with Luke in I think the last movie, where he just kind of just shut himself off to the Force,
right.
Which you could see Ben did that. So he shut himself down, and it's cool in the beginning of the series where they really, I think, try to put in that just he's just going through life. They show him on the train, the same shot. They show him, I mean, multiple times, just like, this is now my monotonous life. And it was great how he didn't want to use the Force. He was escaping. I mean, he was the cause of that other Jedi's death. And it was more, I failed, and he took it more like really to heart, like Luke did, and just cut himself off.
Right.
So it was great how they showed his clumsy return through it until the end. Because if parts where he's fighting, I'm like, really, you suck, dude.
Yeah.
But he had cut himself off to everything, and I thought that was really cool. Like, just, I mean, how much effort it took him just to stop her from falling.
Right.
When back in the day, really, these guys were jumping off buildings, dude. It didn't matter during the Clone Wars and stuff. Oh my gosh. So that was cool to me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, showing the sort of vulnerability of him early on and saying, this guy really
and answering the question,
always going to win. Yeah.
And answering the question that we always thought.
Yeah.
I mean, Darth Vader's his badass. He should have sensed him.
But
he was separated himself from the Force.
Right.
Yeah, this I mostly like I'm into the games and like the extent like I like the Clone Wars stuff. I think that's really interesting of like, and especially like humanizing all that stuff.
Yeah,
I really like that. This story also reminded me a lot of the game Jedi Fallen Order, and it almost has the same climax.
Really?
Like it's like very, and it also is like what I desperately want is a Star Wars game where I can play as a bounty hunter and not as a Jedi. Every game you're a magic user, and I just want to. And they almost made one, and they canceled it to make a multiplayer one. But they were going to make one where you could play as Boba Fett in his youth.
See, that would be bad.
It was Star Wars 1313. You were going to go to a planet that's like at the core, like it's not on the surface. At the core, there's a city.
Right.
It's going to take place entirely in there. And you were going to slowly get armor and weapons, and they canceled it, and I will never not be mad about that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm mad. I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
now.
and they just released even more gameplay footage to just be like, because the people who made it are not happy that were making it. It was like Uncharted with we played Boba Fett too.
Oh, wow.
And it looked amazing. Like you see, you have to go bounties. You're chasing people, doing all this stuff. You get you'll get armor as you go on. And I want to, and I like in Kenobi where he uses a gun. And I'm like, if Jedi Fallen Order would just let me use a gun in addition to a lightsaber, perfect game.
But think about it. That's how they wrote it. That's his whole separation from the Jedi and his whole thing. Because even in the movie where he used the guns against Grievous. And he threw it down and goes, so uncivilized. He would have never used a gun. So him using a gun is this whole separation. That's why I like how they did that.
Oh, sure.
For me.
And the gun is kind of slowly phased out.
Because he would never use a gun.
Unless he can't even.
Right. Unless he can't use the Force.
Right.
So I liked how they did that.
Well, yeah,
cool.
I mean, it shows him as being more kind of, resourceful. It's like he uses whatever is available in his environment.
Yeah.
But, you should play Shadows of the Empire.
I've never heard of it.
Oh my gosh, that's a huge game.
I mean,
it was huge.
Yeah. Is it too?
Oh yeah, it was huge.
It's an online play.
Yeah, at its time.
Yeah,
I mean, it was an N64 game.
Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I look at these old games I can't. I'm sorry, I can't play this.
Are you talking about 16-bit? What?
Yeah. I mean, not even 16-bit. I mean, this was 64-bit. And,
I can't.
For you to refer to that as an old game kind of wounds my soul a little bit, but it is.
Yeah, that's why one of the reasons I like Mass Effect Andromeda is you can basically make a Boba Fett character. Like you can get a flamethrower, a shield, a sword, and jetpacks. I'm like, this is what I wanted in a Star Wars game. Was let me be. Anytime there's I don't want to be the chosen one. I want to be a guy, some guy.
Well, yeah, in Shadows of the Empire, you basically play a guy who is not Han Solo, but is
the same pants and everything.
He's fulfilling that same role because the game takes place between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
Now they mapped that character from an actual actor, right? Is that the one?
Oh, in Fallen Order, yeah,
because they're talking about bringing that character into the.
Yeah, he fits in very
because right on the timeline, it's everything. They're saying that we might see that character,
and the villains are the sisters.
Yeah.
So you fight 3 of them or something. So it's he would very comfortable. Cal Kestis.
Oh.
Yeah, I like it because it's a very. For me, it's kind of a modern Ratchet and Clank.
Okay.
You get
That's
a robot.
What you're saying, yeah.
You get a robot sidekick. You do platforming, and Ratchet and Clank. You got a bunch of guns. I would like some guns. So in Kenobi.
Yes, Kenobi.
I like the 5-minute prologue to catch someone up who that's that thing where it's like they have to take into consideration someone who doesn't know what the story is.
Well, yeah, I mean, that 5-minute prologue was nice because it gives you all the highlights of the prequels without having to actually see them. So it's almost like, that 5-minute piece is better
than losing 2 hours of your life. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Just the parts where you need to know like what they're referencing.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, it is weird how when you make a TV show like this, it makes a lot of stuff from the prequels important because it takes place, immediately after them. And so we have to still pretend that a lot of that stuff matters. Now,
but they're getting better at it. They're getting better at prequels.
Midichlorians are never mentioned, I don't think, in
Thank
the series.
God.
I'm not sure if they're
They are
mentioned in Mandalorian or anything. If
No.
Rosario Dawson's character, did she
No.
mention them? Okay,
They don't mention the baby's blood has more of doesn't that Werner Herzog guy?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
We're going to
Werner
ruin
Herzog.
for everybody. Midichlorians.
Yeah.
I love how everyone has just been like, no, that dialogue didn't happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it is cool how in the Mandalorian they do reference Life Day from the Star Wars Holiday Special. So that does matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That matters more than everything about the Force. It's not.
Yeah, but it's funny.
Life Day happened. That
Life
holiday
Day.
special.
Yes.
That happened.
Oh yeah, that happened. Yeah.
And then I wonder how many things they put in just to piss off Lucas. So
Right.
because I mean, I'm sure he turns into he just turns and gets all upset.
I mean, I like seeing interviews where he's just so deeply upset with what's happening.
Oh hell yeah!
Because I mean, especially when he is like, this was I made this.
Well,
Oh, there it is. There's Lucas.
The new Star Wars stuff. It is what it is. I'm gonna just hang out in Marin County and do my thing. Yeah.
So you just want to make sure. You just want to make sure, Lucas, that your fans are answered, correct? I mean, that's the most important part to you, right? Is what your fans think?
As long as the fans are happy, but I mean, I really think Jar Jar could work, though.
Well, I heard that you had him originally coming back as a Sith Lord. I heard there's proof of that.
Yeah. I actually have documents dating back to the 70s. I was actually planning to do that the whole time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it is true.
Yeah.
A lot of people are waiting for that. They wouldn't mind that.
Oh yeah. I have multiple screenplays written about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I heard you also had a Raiders of the Lost Ark Star Wars blend that you were going to do.
Yeah, there's a coffee blend. It's got the Ark of the Covenant beans and the Jedi beans together. Yeah.
I like that. Oh man, I can't wait for that to come out.
Oh yeah, that'll be coming out soon. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Oh my God. Well, George, thank you for coming down and doing this little interview with us.
My pleasure. Jar Jar lives.
Dang, you had a George impression, locked and loaded.
Wow, that was great.
You didn't even hint that was gonna come up.
I know. Well, I mean, I do see on his pad it says George, and it's underlined 6 times.
Yeah.
You never know who's gonna have an impression ready for an episode.
No, but for me, it's funny even with George Lucas because he has said in interviews he doesn't really care about what the fans think. He just wants to clip his story, right? And what's funny is that he was talking a lot of smack about Disney when they bought him. Mm-hmm. So Disney just goes, "Okay, George, we're just going to release the originals," and he just shut up because he doesn't want anyone to see the originals.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, didn't he delete personally bought and destroyed every copy? Or something?
He's saying that it's in a vault somewhere.
You watch A New Hope.
Never going
it
to
must
really
contain the Jabba the Hutt scene with Han Solo walking over his tail, and it looks really awkward the way it happens.
Yeah. And on the bottom of the Millennium Falcon, I think that this was about, and under the Millennium Falcon, the bottom of it, in 3 different places. It gives the exact location of Hoffa's body. I think that's why.
That was like a little too far for them. They're like, you have to.
Well, yeah, you got.
We got to do some sort of.
We'll never
director's
release
cut.
it. We'll never release it.
You have to. Can you put in some sort of like alien?
Yeah, I don't know.
Some sort of goo monster.
I don't know, but for me personally, I think they did a good job with Obi-Wan Kenobi. Some of the things some of the things I didn't like, but I think his character, plus also Disney and Marvel, they understand, especially Marvel, because they're the ones that started this whole nonsense. With you invested in characters, I mean, to see him back as Obi-Wan Kenobi, dude, freaking ridiculous. That was just awesome. Because he was also the voice, I think, of the Clone Wars too. Yeah. And so it was just an easy transition for me to accept, oh, here's Obi-Wan, which was cool.
I was surprised that it made sense. I mean, I'm like, I have such disbelief in Disney that I was like, I'm assuming they're just going to do whatever.
Right.
Like, it was like, this actually could work within the
Well, I think they try hard, dude. I really do. I think some of it has to be, movie magic, whatever. But I think they try hard to keep it in. Like I had a problem with Princess Leia in this. Oh my gosh. I had a problem the first time I watched with this little girl, right? And then I'm thinking, dude, this is a 10-year, 5-year gap to New Hope.
Right.
So of course she's got to be badass and be this person that is just high constitution, just like F you. Because I mean, in 5 years later, she's gonna be going, aren't you a little short to be a stormtrooper?
Right.
And then it made sense. Then I was like, okay, I get it. You have to make the character that way because we're going to see her in 5 years, and this is the character that you're going to see in 5 years.
And presumably, this was their only big adventure out.
So, I don't know. That's the whole thing. That's what people want to see.
You think we'll get a Leia?
I don't know.
Spin-off? I mean, they're just doing. This is where I was like, because Mandalorian having like, we're doing everything a TV show now. I'm like, this is how it starts.
Yeah, it started with COVID. They originally thought of that.
They came up with COVID.
No. Yeah, George Lucas did to get rid of his fans.
Yeah, actually, I came up with that back in the 70s. Yeah,
he was Steven Spielberg. But they when COVID happened, of course, box office sales went down. So Disney was one of the first to go, we're just going to start putting everything online.
Right.
So. But now,
wasn't Kenobi originally going to be a movie?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
My only issue with Star Wars, and I know this doesn't matter. Like this is an issue I have. Is I don't like how every planet is it's this thing planet. Where it's like, oh, this is the city planet. This is the planet where there's volcanoes. This is the planet where there's a desert. And just like, this is the planet where we made a city happen.
Well, wait a minute. Are you suggesting that volcanoes and cities could both exist on the same planet?
Yeah, I mean, if
whoa,
if this took place on one planet, and instead of like we're going on a spaceship, it's like we got in a car, like nothing would change, right? I mean, it's like we're going to the city now.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and this planet is where we have dirt roads. It's always one thing planet.
Right.
That bugs me.
Yeah, I mean, you do get that in like Star Trek as well. I mean, that tends to be kind of a sci-fi trope in general.
Yeah, that Mass Effect does it. It's this thing where like, I know it's not a big deal.
Well, Star Trek does it in a different way though.
Yeah,
because everything with Star Trek has to do with time travel. I just don't understand it. I mean, everything has to do with some kind of warp and time and blah blah. I'm like, man, these guys are constantly dealing with time warps.
Some sort of trek.
Think about it, every movie. Which one didn't have a time warp?
I mean, the time warp, it's just a jump to the left, then a step to the right.
Step to the right. Yes.
Okay.
Put your hands on your hip.
I knew that Frank would get that, and you wouldn't get that.
I appreciate it, though. I appreciate what you did. I registered a joke happened, and
That's
I enjoyed it.
All right.
That was great.
I was like, that's referencing something.
Yeah, but
and
you think
we're all having fun.
But you think of Star Wars even in the aspect. Let's take Boba Fett for instance.
Yep.
Boba Fett was originally going to be like a stormtrooper, a high advanced stormtrooper, and they were going to do multiples of them. The first appearance of Boba Fett was in a parade.
Well, and also it was in the holiday special.
Yeah, he was in the holiday special.
Yeah,
he was in the parade. Yes.
Yeah, in the animated segment.
Originally the costume that came out was all white, and George's idea was to make him like a special forces, but it was too expensive to do all the costumes that way. So they brought it back and painted it to be a bounty hunter on Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. So the first appearance of Boba Fett wasn't in an Empire Strikes Back; it was in a parade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, how much of like these things that are just like pop culture icons now that were the result of, like, I don't know, paint him green.
Yeah. And I don't blame him. I mean, think about it. Half of it was half-assed done, you know. I mean, he already did the story, and then they would take it to him and, oh, well, you know, we know that he likes hot rods, so we'll dissolve this, you know, ship like a hot rod. It didn't exist, right. You know, and we take it as this lore, you know, when it was all, like, from the hip, man, lots of times. And really the only movie that he directed was New Hope. Empire Strikes Back wasn't directed by him. You know, it was Return of the Jedi.
Who directed the other?
Yeah, I think Empire Strikes Back was directed by like his film professor.
Yeah,
I think Irving Kershner,
and it shows.
Oh,
it was one of the greatest movies.
That's gotta. I mean, yeah, I'd be really mad.
Yeah,
I would be mad if I made something and I was like the worst part of it.
Right. And then Return of the Jedi was originally offered to David Lynch. But David Lynch decided to do Dune instead.
Oh,
but
another classic.
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, yeah.
Well, Dune, Dune was a high class one.
Yeah, so I mean, imagine Return of the Jedi directed by David Lynch. I mean, that would be
crazy.
I bet that tree vision scene would have been good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So back to Obi.
Mm-hmm.
One,
which he's a Ben. He's known as Ben right now.
Yeah, Ben Kenobi. Yeah.
Now I do like that this justifies, like, well, it's also like, yeah, what was he doing? It's like he was over there, and also it's like, why did he go under that name? That name thing never really bothered me because, like, presumably in space, a lot of names pop up.
Yeah,
like everyone. I mean, there has to be so many repeat names.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean. That was a weird thing in A New Hope, where like when Luke first hears about Ben Kenobi, he's like, I wonder if he's related to Obi-Wan or sorry, it's the other way around. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if he's related to Ben Kenobi. Gee, you think? You know, it's like
yeah. Just take out the Obi.
The same last name. The same.
Yeah. You know, but I liked how they did. Of course, a lot of the connections you have to. You have the universe you can connect to,
right?
And I like how they did that in here. It's tough because when we look at a movie like this, they're making prequels so much better. I think they're taking the time to look at those movies and make them make sense. When back in the day they didn't care, they just made them.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like they bought the rights and then.
I mean, they have content people that you shouldn't have any mistakes in some of these movies. You know, so that's why the Princess Leia thing totally makes sense. That's kind of brilliant. I would have, and me as a watcher, I would have been okay if they toned her down because she was annoying. But realistically, dude, in 10 years, you know, she has to be running the whole damn galaxy.
Yeah, and she gets like a pass because it's all like, oh, she was actually Force sensitive, but like not that way. I do like the angle they went with, where it's like, oh, Luke kind of got like more physical uses out of it, and she got inherently more like mental uses out of it. And then it's like, oh yeah, she has more of a window into people's minds, so she's just naturally more mature and like talkative to people because she is like, oh, I know what that person. Like, if you could actually know what someone meant, you'd have some sass on you.
I mean, it's still not, you know. I mean, the fans still don't take it when they, you know, when she flew through space, but that's a whole nother thing. You know, but I don't know. I can't even still accept that. But I like how they did. When he fought Darth Vader, like I said, I mean, just emotionally, that was awesome for me.
Sure.
I mean, because you're seeing something that you haven't seen since New Hope, and everyone remembers that. And it really wasn't even. You go back, it wasn't even that crazy of a fight. No. And if you go in the Clone Wars, you see how active these guys were, and you're like, what? So, but they did that in the series. They brought a little bit about that back. So when you watch the Clone Wars, you're like, okay, this totally makes sense. You know, boulders on them and all that stuff. I mean, it just totally makes sense. And it kind of makes sense on Darth Vader how he leaves everyone to die, because really who anywhere can really throw a threat to him.
Yeah, which towards the end, like his penultimate fight. I'm using that word. I learned what that word meant recently. One of the coolest ways of showing like a difference between power levels. I don't know if you guys watched Cobra Kai.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. They that fight where Johnny is fighting a student of his, and you see how like casually dismissive he is of it, and he like accidentally like hurts him because he was like he accidentally put too much effort into fighting back.
Right.
Like
right.
I really like seeing like, oh, here's a huge difference between a master at this and a novice.
Sure.
Oh, dude, when he fought that one girl. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't even using his lightsaber.
Yeah.
He's just like.
Yeah,
that was just sick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was that very like the scene that's in my head is when it's just like two hand flips where he's like he like blocks it and then push, and it's like, oh yeah, this is like they that.
Now a lot of people didn't like that character in the very beginning, first 2 episodes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They really were dogging that character out.
Yeah. Third sister.
Yeah, third sister. And what was crazy to me, I kind of got it from the very beginning, and I'm thinking, I'm not a Jedi, but how did I get it? No one else get it. I mean, you see the girl when they show the beginning when the Jedi temple's getting destroyed, and you're going, I totally made the connection. I'm like, okay, that totally makes sense. And people are like, I don't know why. And I'm going, dude, didn't you see that? Which
I didn't pick up. Like when I saw that later, like, oh, that's probably something they see earlier. The reason I knew is because in Fallen Order they tell you that's what those people are.
Oh wow!
So when I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I know already what this is. So I didn't
see. That's kind of cool.
I didn't know how like when they like revealed that, I'm like, well, yeah, that's what that title means, right?
Oh, see, yeah, but a lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people were upset.
It like depends on like what angle of like media you're coming at it from.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't see what was coming with her character specifically, but I mean, she was like so prominently featured that I figured, well, there has to be some other kind of twist to her character.
Yeah, and it came together at the end, and then like, well, I knew like what this character is supposed to represent.
Right.
So like, if you don't know that is like, oh, this is a person who's just bad at their job.
Well,
because and then like they keep being wrong about things. And I'm like,
right.
Well, it's like, well, I know it's because like, oh, there's a reason they're bad at being bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't. If you don't know that, it's like, why are they focusing on an incompetent like person at like? It's like, oh, like her coworkers are like, you're wrong, and I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, she is.
Right.
But it's because she's not built for that.
Sure.
And it's even like I think with this character, you start to have Star Wars fans, man, almost try to twist the reality of it's just a whole plot, right?
Well,
like a good example, you have the Jedi Temple,
right,
full of Jedis. You have Yoda there. You got everybody in house, and not one person at the luncheon meeting could go, wait, that's the Emperor. I mean, not one person. I mean, he's spewing the Sith, and not one person can figure it out.
Right.
They don't feel it. They don't do whatever. They don't do that. And people are like, oh, because of this. But then they'll come across this character, and they're like, how did Darth Vader not even know? Well, he says he knew the whole time what was happening.
Right.
But it's like, why not? You had a freaking Sith Lord there, and you couldn't figure it out. So why not be able to not sense people? There has to be a way that you can block that off.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's the only way to explain it.
Besides a mistake in the script.
Right.
Which doesn't happen. That, honestly, my favorite part about Star Wars is just seeing like articles where it's like, why did the stormtroopers always miss? And it's like, because the movie was written that way. Also, I'm pretty sure on one of them they were told to, but like, I'm pretty sure they explicitly say that was a plot point. But like, also, it's like, oh, why did the villains always miss and the heroes always hit? It's like because it was written that way. And just seeing articles about like, the psychology of wearing a helmet, and it's like, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah, they try to justify it.
Yeah, they're always like, oh my god, I almost knocked the freaking table.
When if you're going to wear a uniform, why does it have to be the shell? What does it do? Nothing. You get hit, you get killed. Except in the Book of Boba Fett. It didn't seem like anyone got killed when they got shot in that one.
Yeah, that's lightsabers are not as lethal.
No, definitely not.
They're not as lethal on a Wookiee.
You can stab somebody in the gut with a lightsaber.
Yeah,
not just
and that does not kill them.
A couple.
I mean that happens
right through
two different times in this show.
And also not even bothering mentioning like what happens.
Yeah,
not even saying like I
got better. Yeah,
they're just like they're like
yeah.
Well, I mean, you look at what the Sith guy that got cut in half in the Clone Wars that comes back.
Darth Maul.
Maul.
Sure.
It's like really, really, dude.
Yeah, that's your spine. That's half of you.
Yeah, he becomes the crime kingpin. Yeah.
Is that what happened in Boba Fett?
Well,
that's
what's revealed in the Solo movie. That was where I saw it.
Which is originally from the Clone Wars. So they go over Boba Fett. I mean, they go over him. They have really cool stories in there, him and his brother, and a lot of cool stories. And like I said, watch the Clone Wars, especially to understand what they're doing with Boba Fett. Some of the characters that you're seeing, even in Boba Fett, are directly from the cartoon.
You know, it's fun. Okay. I was like, let me look up some scenes from Boba Fett to see like if it'll like some fight scenes to see if it'll be interesting. The only fight scene that like pops up is the fight scene with the Mandalorian in it.
Well, yeah, there is one episode of the Boba Fett show that is actually just it could be an episode of the Mandalorian. Like
that's what they call it. The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I'm not sure Boba Fett even appears in one episode. It's just. Yeah,
which is so interesting that like the reason they made it the Mandalorian is like well we can't make it Boba Fett.
Right.
And now they did Boba Fett, like, well, we got to include the Mandalorian.
That's right, exactly.
Because it sucks so bad.
we got to have him.
Trust me. They were thinking of ways to throw Darth Vader in there to get the ratings up.
There is, no, I don't want to spoil other stuff, but. Okay. Now let's to infinity and beyond. So what's the plot of this? Is he's
well, basically in a nutshell.
Okay, so Leia gets kidnapped by Flea.
Yes.
And under the bridge.
Yes.
Sorry. No.
Let's explore this.
Yeah. So Leia gets kidnapped by these guys, and Obi-Wan is called by Senator Bail Organa to rescue her, and so that's the basic plot. That's the inciting incident, I guess.
Yes, but he doesn't know that Anakin survived, which I think is a plot hole.
Yeah, well,
I think he had the fairest assumption in the Star Wars universe for when someone was going to die. I mean, Anakin got like completely owned. You could not have taken.
You know what? That's another thing relating to what I'm talking about. I guess they're known to just think that the person's dead and walk away.
Yeah, that's
right.
When you're in universes that you get stabbed, cut in half.
Yeah,
you should make sure the guy's dead.
I mean, everybody does. No one double taps in the Star Wars universe.
Oh my gosh, you're so right.
I think even they mention this is where I like just read Wikipedia articles about Star Wars sometimes, like the Stormtrooper armor, and the explanation they give is a lot of times those Stormtroopers don't die when they get shot. The armor does protect them, but the impact still knocks them out. Similar to like how bulletproof vests, if you get shot, that could still break bones and knock the wind out of you. So like the explanation is like when a Stormtrooper gets shot, unless it's like clearly lethal, they were probably knocked out and then they're taken back and like during like cleanup.
They were playing possum.
Yeah, right. And it's like okay, well give them a new chess piece and they'll be good to go next time. Sure. And it's like, yeah, I mean they still get hit. And in that reality, that's probably very effective. It's just in the movie, the protagonist keeps just not getting hit, and they don't bother with armor, so it really diminishes armor. But no one goes make sure they're dead, because not only do we have things like medical devices in place for this, so many people keep coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's like, "What, you? Oh my god." I cut you in half, and they're like, but it was my hate. I hated you so much.
Right.
And they're like, I keep hearing that.
Yeah.
People keep saying, like, what kept you alive? oh, I was just so mad.
You're so frustrating.
It was just so, oh.
Yeah, make sure there is a dead body. Go up to the body, check for a pulse. Make sure there is no pulse.
Yeah,
otherwise, yeah.
Yeah, and in the movie, yeah, if you as the audience don't see someone like with their head chopped off, they're probably still alive.
Yeah,
right.
You need to see the obituary.
Yeah, and think about it, in the Empire, you never actually see, like first aid people. Where's the stormtrooper with the red cross?
No medics. Yeah.
There's no medics.
Yeah, I've never.
It's not never. You don't hear them going medic.
Yeah.
No, they're just
some sort of sci-fi foam that they spray.
something.
Yeah.
Some sort of like thing for like.
Not even robots. You figure you get robots to do the job.
I think they have robot mechanics, and they don't, but they don't have medics.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I digress.
Yeah. So the issue is Kenobi like cut himself off from the Force because he was like really embarrassed about the whole Sith thing, like him becoming president.
Right.
And then he's hired for the job. So like he has a lightsaber, but he still has to use like a gun, which I like. I'm not a magic. I don't know. In the fighter mage thief world, I'm a thief. Mm-hmm. You guys might be different. I don't know. What are you? Fighter mage or thief?
I think mage for me. Yeah.
Frank?
Probably fighter.
Fighter? Oh, cool. We have the perfect. Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. We got our party down.
You know what's crazy in it is that little things that I noticed after I watched Obi-Wan. I tend to do this. I went back and watched some other movies, and there's a thing about burying lightsabers. I have no idea. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi says it to the other guy. You should go out in the desert and bury this. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He goes out, finds where he buried his.
Right.
Which I guess he fills it. Well, now let's go back to the Last Jedi. Last Jedi, Ren buries hers in Tatooine, right where Luke's property is. Mm-hmm. She goes out, puts him in this little box, and she mentally creates this hole and puts him in there and buries him. So I don't know why you would have to bury a lightsaber, but
that's symbolic.
Does seem needlessly complicated,
right? Because why bury it? Who cares if you got it? Right.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff is like.
And what if a poor kid, undigs it up and cuts a hand off? You're responsible.
Mm-hmm. I guess is a lightsaber indestructible? I don't know. Is there any way to melt it down?
I think you can
for parts.
I think you can break it. Oh, you know what?
Oh, you can break it because they break them all the time. Darth Vader just broke a lightsaber in this episode.
Well, he broke it in half. I think that was detachable. It still functioned.
But you've seen breaking them in half too. Because Luke's was broken too.
Right.
So, but I'm sure there's someone out there that has some kind of some kind of lightsaber etiquette that can actually instruct us on that.
That's what I love about the Star Wars universe is every single thing has at least 2 Wikipedia articles to explain.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Wow.
Every single thing you can think of, there was a YouTube. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Red Letter Media, but they just read the Wikipedia for Darth Vader's suit. And it goes into what material was used to polish it, and where they got each individual part from, and it's this will never come up.
Right.
But someone wrote out this is everything. This is why it looked like this was because the guy was in a rush.
Now, do you like the, you're a Star Wars fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you like the different helmet setup for this one?
The different helmets.
I mean, the fact that when they go back to Empire Strikes Back, right? Okay, the helmet was similar to the mask that you can buy, where you had the front piece, then the helm would come on and snap on top of that.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. This one, it's the front and the top of the mask come down.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Totally different.
I didn't notice.
Because you remember in Empire Strikes Back when he's turned around?
Oh, sure.
And the top of the helmet comes and snaps in?
Right.
Now, from my memory, there wasn't the front part. The front part was already there, and the top came on over it.
Uh-huh.
If anyone's wondering, I'm doing visuals here.
Yeah.
It's a dazzling display.
Really? So, but in this one, it was the whole front and the helm that just snapped onto the back.
Did they show it being put on?
Yes.
Here? Okay. Yeah. I can't remember.
I caught that and I was like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't notice.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Well, anyway.
The mission to was we need to rescue from kidnapper. I do like seeing him take and guards out, doing
well, and they thought through that too.
Yeah.
He cuts himself on the guy that's like Darth Maul. He cuts himself on one of his horns.
No, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I thought, man, what a cool little thing. Yeah.
I like Kumail Nanjiani's character.
Yeah.
Especially because a thing where there would be just the idea that there's someone who would pretend to be a Jedi.
Right.
Like for that world, awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then it's also like it's also like, well, he's still doing the thing. He's just like making it more fun.
Right.
Because he's like, oh, I'm doing a mind trick. I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, well, it still happened.
That was good.
Right, and it's like, people may never have the chance to meet a real Jedi, so why not?
And that's what I like about like seeing bounty hunters in that world is a lot of what they do is like you can simulate Jedi powers. Mm-hmm. It's like he just had magnets, and it's like that'll cover a lot because everyone has metal on them. So there's very few things you couldn't. It's like I really would love to play some sort of Boba Fett character in a game.
Mm-hmm. And what was weird is this is not too long after Clone Wars, right? So you watch Clone Wars, and the Jedi were kind of feared, right? Mm-hmm. And then you even go into the movies, the Clone War movie, and blah blah blah, where you have everyone knew who Obi-Wan Kenobi was. He was a general in the whole Empire. So then Order 66 goes out. It's not too much longer after that. Now stormtroopers are being mixed. They're not making clones anymore. Now they're recruiting. So people still know who Jedi are, right? It's not till the New Hope where it's kind of all dead by then. A lot of people don't know.
Well, and that just kind of makes sense now. If like they all like the ones that survived were the ones that had to cut themselves off. Mm-hmm. So like the ones that
they couldn't find them.
So the active ones got hunted and killed, and the rest hid themselves away. So like after 10 years for people like, yeah, that's not a real thing. I'm like, that's a little more believable now.
Well, in Star Wars, he even says it. The guy says to, not Grand Moff Tarkin, but the other guy says to him, no one cares about your old dead religion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So by that time, everyone doesn't even care or doesn't even know, which makes the Mandalorian more interesting. That's why they don't know what the Force is. That's why to see Baby Yoda do that, they're like, what the hell is that? Mm-hmm. Because by that time, there's no Jedi anymore. There's rumors of Jedi,
but there are other Jedi that still exist in this show. They are the Inquisitors, right?
Yes,
and I
which are old Jedi,
right,
that decide to go.
They were
Jedi the dark side.
Padawans who were
turncoats,
who were.
Well, it's weird because you say Padawans, which could be, but also in the show, Obi-Wan says, yeah, they're Jedi that now switch sides. So some of them are actual Jedi.
Right.
Not Padawans. Some of them are actual Jedi that switched now are hunting the other side.
Okay.
Yeah. And apparently the Inquisitors were something that was introduced in the Clone Wars show, which I haven't
Correct.
seen.
That's a cartoon.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have different attitudes towards the main guy. That's why when he got stabbed, I'm like, well, you can't. I mean, dude,
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't like the actor that they chose. Now, like I said, now we're starting to just eat ourselves. I mean, come on, just enjoy it, dude. Enjoy it, dude. He's like fight. He's not that fat. He should be skinnier. And you're like, come on, dude. Star Wars fans are starting to get tough on us, on ourselves. But anyway. Yeah, so Inquisitors came out in there. So I highly recommend for you to watch it.
Sure.
And play Fallen Order because you play as that's why like in this one you get to see like what Order 66 like looked like from an outside perspective. That's one of the coolest things where it was just like all of a sudden like people start getting shot at and I think like the little thing that I liked in Star Wars is like because you get the perspective from the heavy hitters, and so it's like, oh my god, like the stormtroopers die so easily, and it's like, well that's from like Superman, but like most of them weren't that strong. So whenever you see like what it was like for the average Jedi, where it was just like they just turn around, they get shot in the back, and like that's it. And in Jedi Fallen Order, you get flashbacks where. The flashbacks are like your training, and then you unlock a new power. Right. And so they'll be like clone troopers, like you're ready for training. You'll high five them and everything, and they're all friendly. And then all of a sudden, like you just see them like just like get a reaction, like turn around. Well, you see how your guys like no one understands what's happening at all, and how a lot of them just got shot in the chaos. We're like, hey, it's me. Like, what are you doing?
I highly recommend. Like the Clone Wars goes into all that. How it's a chip implanted in their head. And some of them find out about this chip. And one of the clones removes the chip. And they don't know what the chip's about. And the chip is for Order 66. Right. And in the
clone, get your chips on Order 66. All right,
Started in Miami. Anyway, that's good. That was good. But I highly recommend that because it'll give you a new
hope,
a new appreciation. It'll give you a new appreciation to stormtroopers. It truly will, because they're not. In the Clone Wars cartoon, they're badass. I mean, they go into like there's a one character, Cody.
Yeah.
That you're gonna see because a lot of people like this character. They're like I said, their last episode of Clone Wars is where Ahsoka is going after Darth Maul on the ship, and the ship's gonna crash into a planet, and Order 66 is given. So all these stormtroopers turn on her, and she's technically not a Jedi. She dropped out of the Jedi Council because of the politics. Like I said, it's a great show. So she's trying to get now one of the guys that I got turned, Cody, they take the chip out of his brain. So it's basically her and another stormtrooper against all these other stormtroopers that are now apt to kill her. And it's one of the greatest episodes. The ship crashes, they get off the ship, blah, blah. And she has a whole battalion that have painted their helmets because they want to follow her. And they show all the helmets on sticks on all the people that have died on the planet. And the end of the episode, you see some snowtroopers come in, and Darth Vader comes in, and there's all the old helmets. It looks like they've been there for a long time. So he tracks her down because Ahsoka was his Padawan, Darth Vader's Padawan. That's what I'm saying. You got to watch it because I'll talk about it all day.
All right, well, let's make sure we talk about Kenobi.
Yes, we've been all over the place. Yeah.
Okay. It was like story-wise, it was like, okay, so it's like an escort mission.
Sorry.
You know,
I'm thinking I didn't see any of those girls.
Okay. Two different
escort mission.
Two different life views. There.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is like fine. When Darth Vader comes in, I'm like, all right, this is like because it's like unclear, like what is the point of this?
Yeah, I mean that is a good question to ask. When I saw the first fight between like Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, I was thinking, yeah, I mean, does this kind of cheapen, their encounter in A New Hope a little bit? But on the other hand, there are some dots that need to be connected in terms of the fact that, like, at the end of Revenge of the Sith, again, Obi-Wan thinks that Anakin is dead. But by A New Hope, he's telling Luke, well, Darth Vader actually murdered your father. And first off, I mean, that is another very controversial line within Star Wars fandom because it's like, in Empire, he then says, well, what I said was true from a certain point of view. It's like, well, yeah.
But they fix that in the cartoons, though.
Sure.
Because most of the time that's why Anakin says, no, he's dead.
Well, right, and they fix that in this show as well. Because he actually says that to
he's
Obi-Wan.
like, no, I did it. Me,
right.
Darth Vader, I killed you. It's like it's not your. I was like,
Anakin is dead now.
I killed him. A young Jedi, Darth Vader, killed him. From my point of view,
right, exactly.
The Anakin is dead.
Right.
Yeah. Not to mention that in Revenge of the Sith, at one point Anakin says something like, well, from my point of view, the Sith are good, and it's one of the clunkiest. I mean, in a clunky movie in general, it's one of the
that's like, oh, this lines. Is filler dialogue that was supposed to be replaced with something. It's like, okay, you need to get across that from his point of view, things are kind of flipped.
Right.
It's like,
exactly.
okay, we'll just keep that.
Yeah, it's like, this is the point we want to get across. We'll come up with a better way to say it later.
They're filming and they're like, did you get around to? I forgot to change that.
Did we get the script doctor in here? No? Okay. No, I just using my original version. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt.
I like. Yeah, it's like I guess if this is like an issue people have had with it, I'm like, a neat little patch on there.
Sure.
The fight between them is like, it's neat that he dragged him through fire. I was like, that's pretty metal.
Right.
But it's also like, I remember when you tumbled, you cut off his legs and he tumbled into a pit of lava. Sure. It's like, it doesn't feel so good when you're on the other end of it, does it?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of constant tension here, is that on the one hand, like, all the stuff that happens in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, does it somehow, cheapen the stuff that happens in the original movies? But on the other hand, it's like Revenge of the Sith ends at a certain place, and it's like, well, yeah, but we're still kind of curious to know more about. Okay, but what happened after that? There's still like a 20-year gap here between that movie and A New Hope, and so I guess there's still interesting stories to be told in that 20-year gap. Yeah.
But is this one of them?
That's that.
Interesting enough, I guess.
I mean, part of me thinks that they just gave it to us just to show Darth Vader and him fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you just fill in the story. That's what I mean. I liked it, but there's other parts that I'm thinking, because I mean, the end fight is just phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, visually, it's just.
Yeah, visually, and also it is awesome to hear Hayden Christensen talk and also have James Earl Jones overlapped over it, because I mean, that is one thing, is that there's this kind of plausibility aspect of trying to actually connect Anakin to Darth Vader. It's like, okay, I know intellectually those are both the same person, but seeing Anakin and then seeing Darth Vader, it doesn't quite connect. But that scene really connects it more strongly than.
Yeah, that's a good point, because again, with Darth Vader, it's not like they didn't have that planned out. I mean, when he said your father was killed by a young Jedi, I'm pretty sure that was originally what actually happened.
Oh yeah.
And that's why he kissed like Leia. It was like, well, that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of retconning going on. Yeah.
So, and especially it's like, oh yeah, Anakin became Darth Vader. It's like, well, why don't their voices sound anything alike?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
that's a huge issue, right?
Here's the part that's really crazy, and you're old enough to kind of remember this rumor.
Don't listen to him.
Okay, no, this is true. So I remember as a kid, Star Wars came out, right? And the rumor that was going around all the 7-year-olds, whatever, that I remember Darth Vader was killed in a volcano. That's rumor. People, how did he become Darth Vader? And it was always he was killed in a volcano. I don't know where that came from. But it's funny to then fast forward and here I am, 40-something, going, oh my gosh, you got killed in a volcano.
Right.
I mean, how the hell did I even know that back then? So I wonder how much of the story was just made up, but how much of it kind of was there.
Maybe that was like something that was in like the novelization of it.
Maybe
that was mentioned.
Or
because he had a splinter in the mind's eye at that time. No, that was later. Well, later.
I've noticed there's a lot of in video games, a lot of stories used to be told in the manual you would read, and no one read the manual. So that could have been in one of the video games. It's like if you read that, oh, by the way, Darth Vader died in a battle. Oh, I didn't know that, and no one reads it, so they throw it away. Or they get a toy and it says he was damaged in a volcano.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah, I mean, Marvel Comics came out with Star Wars comics right after the first movie came out, and at first it was just adapting the movie,
right?
And then
it was the whole movie,
and then it went on and continued telling the stories,
yeah.
And in those original comics, Jabba the Hutt appears, and he's like this tall, skinny guy.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so later on they had to say, well, yeah, no, all the comics made after the adaptation, non-canon, yeah. So
because they bring in stuff from the extended universe, but didn't they just say because the rule used to be it's canon unless contradicted.
Right.
That happens Halo too. Well, I don't know. I can't. I didn't like that Halo show. I don't know if you watched Halo.
I don't have Prime or whatever it's on. What is it on?
I don't know.
Never mind.
I'm sure that you watched it legally.
I mean, it's some subscription I have. I'm subscribed to so many things. It's hard to keep track.
I'm not subscribe to Shady Network. No, I'll definitely have to watch it. But
No,
I wasn't a big Halo fan.
The story is really good. The gameplay is like fine. I love the story of it. The gameplay, it's like, I mean, I'm gonna try not to talk about other things too much.
Okay, let's go. Let's go back to Obi-Wan.
If we talk about Halo, we'll talk about Halo. Kenobi. Why does he have a lightsaber? Why is it? Why is it the color the color that it is? We don't know. Darth Vader has a red one, and it seems like everyone else does.
No, it has to do with your Jedi and the Force and all that different things.
Legitimately. Oh no, it's blue. He has a blue one.
Yes,
and only Samuel L. Jackson has a Mother effing purple one.
Which, yeah,
oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah,
I love the. I mean, yeah, there's an in-universe. They had to do a whole freaking essay about why purple lightsabers exist and why they're rare.
Right.
And it's
great.
Yeah. We could. There's so many things.
Something about this show that doesn't make us want to talk about it. What is that?
Well, I'm like,
because we're constantly going off.
I watched this
tangents.
yesterday, and I'm like, what happened in the show? They ran. I'm not terribly interested in, like, is this were the rebel resistance, were the pre-rebels?
Well,
we're gonna become.
I don't know. It's the beginning.
Right. Look at that. It's kind of like the railroad, and we go under tunnels and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Leia gets kidnapped again. And there's again. And I was like, oh, you need to. We're gonna fight again, and then it's like, welcome to the I thought I skipped an episode because, like, there's a part where he's like, oh, we're going to the rebel base, and it's like, oh, this is happening now. I'm like, did I miss something here? Because he just goes there and is like, oh, I put a thing on her bug robot.
Yeah, which that was another thing that I didn't like. Yeah. That's another thing I didn't like because they show the bug, right? But yet, Obi-Wan Kenobi fixed that robot. Why didn't he see that? Why didn't the Force go, hey, that's an Imperial bug. It's tracking me.
Well, because they probably went, hey, there's a bug here. And they went, yeah, it's a bug bot. And he's like, no, it's been bugged. It's like, yeah, we made it look like a bug.
Right, I get you. It's a confusion.
It was an Abbott and Costello. Right. They were like, no, someone bugged this. It was like, yeah, the manufacturer. Right. No, I'm telling you, there's a bug in this robot. No, the robot's a bug.
Right.
And
well, so I think that the reason why we're having such a hard time talking about this show is because, you know, no Star Wars thing exists in a vacuum. You know, I mean, it's like every new Star Wars thing that comes out, it's like, okay, well, but why is this coming out?
Now you can pick it apart.
What canon is this overwriting, or what canon is this meant to kind of fix, or so forth? And so the you know, those of us who, you know a certain amount about Star Wars, every single little thing that happens in the show is like, oh well, they're saying that to explain this other thing, and so
it's like arguing with your wife.
You can't see Frank is crying.
You can never win. There's always a reason. There's always a reason why this is happening. I get it.
Man.
It totally makes sense.
Just like that.
Totally makes sense.
Well, and because that's with a lot of this stuff, it does feel like a lot of it is to explain plot holes.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, oh, this is, you know, he called him Darth. Why do you call him that? That's not his name.
Right.
It's like, well,
only a master of evil, Darth. Yeah. He does that.
And they're like, well, and a lot of it is like this was written to like address things.
Right. I mean, much like the Rogue One movie was made only to explain, why is there that one little flaw in the Death Star?
You know what was cool? They did it on purpose. You know what was cool about that? What was cool about that, being that we're not talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi? What was cool? What was cool about that is that Disney had the you-know-whats to kill everyone off. Because originally they wanted survivors, and Disney said, nope, it's a one-shot deal.
Yeah.
Everyone dies. No. Disney made that call.
That was cool.
And I thought that takes some you-know-whats, man.
Yeah.
Because you could have went with other things. You could have told the story about this person. Nope.
Yeah, it's like,
cut everyone dies.
Yeah, this is a group of people that sacrifice themselves.
Right.
You know, in order for...
So you could be in universes that have lightsabers, ships that can go light speed, but the most terrible graphics. When they show holograms and stuff, you're like, really? And I got to talk on a little round thing.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Hey, did you stop it? Did you stop the compactor?
Right. Yeah. Why does the hologram technology look like what it would have looked like in
like a Pong
1977?
Game. It's like a Pong game. It's like a Pong game.
There's an article that explains hologram technology.
Oh, okay.
Never because
they figured out the light speed. They figured out.
That's right.
But
well, because the technology, I don't know what voice this is. The technology at the time, you see, when in the Star Wars universe, the Empire.
Hey, how did you get in here? Hey.
I don't know, was that George? Or I don't know if that was Kermit the Frog.
Well, you see, the reason... hey, George Lucas here.
We are so far... we are so Fozzie Bear. We got everybody up here. Dude, we are so far away from Obi-Wan Kenobi now.
All right. Hey, do you want? Did we mention we're doing spoilers? Or
yeah, I don't know.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, thank you, George. Oh my God, he came back. Yeah. So the sisters. I don't know why it's female only, but yeah, it's like the Jedis that survived that were young enough to like still be indoctrinated were taken in, and I don't know if
it's not just female.
It's not.
You're talking about the Inquisitors?
Oh, yeah, I got them confused.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I thought, because it's like, oh, it's third sister, so like, I guess you can only, they called her that because she was because she was a sister.
Yeah, I guess just because she's the third woman in it, but
I've never heard like second brother.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I'm not sure what the male members were called, but yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I've never seen a scene because the what I've read about lightsaber colors. I'm really interested in how colors happen.
Yeah.
We go into Green Lanterns. I want to know what each emotion is.
Right.
Lightsabers. Why is it purple? And then red ones is they say that you instill like the dark side into a lightsaber, and that will turn it red.
Oh, which makes sense because we've seen that happen.
And Samuel L. Jackson's character, Mace Windu, he was a Jedi who tapped into the dark side, so his lightsaber was blue, and he tapped enough into the dark side to turn it purple. That's the answer for that.
And that's the black saber too.
Is it pure dark force?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's all black.
I've never seen a scene where like you get a Jedi like doing that, but that's like part of being an Inquisitors. They get the lightsabers they were given as Jedi.
Well, do you remember the black saber in the
Mandalorian?
Mandalorian. That saber, Clone Wars again. They go into it a lot in the Clone Wars, where it's actually held by a Mandalorian that runs Mandalorian, the planet, and so it's fought over for. So whoever has that blade, that dark blade, it's the only Mandalorian that was a Jedi.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Which comes from comics and also stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw. This is in the Boba Fett Mandalorian episode fight scene. I like that little touch where it shows like one of the guys, another Mandalorian like picks it up and it looks like it's like suddenly heavy and it's like hard to wield because it's like I remember that used to be the thing where if you didn't know the Force, those were actually very impractical weapons, and like you needed to use the Force to manipulate them. To be able to use them.
Yeah, I don't know because you have Grievous, good example, and a lot of Jedi that are trained in Jedi, but they don't wield the Force. Like Grievous didn't wield the Force,
right?
But he would wield lightsabers.
And Finn used a lightsaber.
And this all rounds back to Obi-Wan because Obi-Wan was kind of in there somewhere.
I was really excited to see how you were going to pull it together.
Yeah, he was in there somewhere. While all this stuff was happening that we're talking about, it's like 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Right.
It all comes down to Obi-Wan.
Yes, the man with the plan.
The man with the plan.
They fight again. Let's just talk about the last episode.
Yeah, let's just talk
That's
about
where stuff happened that I can remember.
Yes.
That mattered.
Lighting was insane. Lighting was amazing.
There's that really the thing when he's like having that fight, that argument with him, and then when he's like bathed in the blue light.
Yeah,
and
it's almost like they crashed on that planet on purpose just for that fight.
Yeah.
Wait, what planet was that on?
It is a planet of dark and light. I have no idea what it is. What it was.
I don't think it was ever named.
I think it was a planet of this is going to be a cool looking fight.
Yeah.
But when that little thing where like when Ben is talking and like arguing, his lightsaber reflects on his face.
Yeah.
And then when Darth Vader starts making his counter arguments and starts like pushing back, the red lightsaber glow starts like filling up the screen. I really like.
Yeah, they did a really good job on that.
Yeah.
So the ending becomes Reva, the third sister. Is
Reva,
like,
Las Vegas.
Good. She's like, she sees like a token that says like there's a boy on the farm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That Ben probably likes, and she's like, I'm gonna kill that kid.
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm fine now, but. And then,
right,
yeah,
I survived.
She got better. Yeah,
yeah. I guess like there was any medical care on. They have like emergency stabbing kits on ships. She went straight there, and Ben and Vader are like, we're gonna fight now.
Right.
This is the final episode. Now I get not having Luke do much in this because it's like he has his time to shine in the movie.
Sure.
I would have liked to see him more as like a little precocious child. Like
maybe actually see him and Obi-Wan Kenobi meet.
Yeah.
Rather than just seeing, hey, can I meet him? Okay. Cut to next scene.
Hello there. Yeah. That would have been because one of the plot things people have is like, why did he care so much when Kenobi died?
Right.
And it's like, oh yeah, he kind of knew him at least a little.
Sure. Yeah.
It would be neat to see. And he like gets knocked out.
See, but I don't know how much he knew him because I mean, let's talk about New Hope. New Hope, he knows of him as a hermit,
but
he's not like
weird neighbor.
Yeah, weird neighbor. He's not like, yeah, dude, we hung out and dude, that guy's pretty cool, dude. You talking about that guy?
Yeah.
No, it's very vague. Like you're talking about the hermit that lives in the mountains, and then
like
even
staring at us with binoculars.
Then his uncle goes, yeah. He's a peeping
Tom.
Tom.
So he's just looking over at us.
Yeah, Luke, stop playing with your ship over there. He's looking around.
He's hiding under the
I
rock.
don't know where Ben is today. But so I don't know how much he knew him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly they had met and had some interactions before they see each other in A New Hope. Yeah. So they know each other. But
that was really the only like big issue I had. I was like, I would have liked to see that.
Sure.
I thought it was really cool that when his uncle and aunt like fight.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool.
And it felt believable because like, oh yeah, she did get stabbed, so at least there's any like weakness in her on that part.
Right.
I didn't like her so accepting to fight a Jedi. Her like, well, we're here, let's do it. I was like, dude, I think most people are like, let's get the hell out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's also like you could hide somewhere, maybe. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, the people are gonna be coming for the child who's like the son of like the Antichrist or something.
Right.
It's like, I got a gun. And it's like, yeah, don't worry, It's like, because he's like, the uncle is like, we should leave, and she's like, I'm not. We're already.
This is our home. This is our home in the middle of nowhere where we just collect evaporators.
We harvest water.
We need to stay here. Not go on a nice planet with the Ewoks where we can actually grow vegetables. No. Let's stay here where it's 146 degrees during the day.
I have no idea why Tatooine exists as like a place people live.
Well, yeah, and I mean, as Luke says in A New Hope, it's the furthest point from the center of the galaxy, and yet seems to be where everything happens.
Yeah, because every. Yeah, I that's the thing I don't like. Where it's like, well, it has to take place on this planet because they had it happen before.
Sure. Well, it's like on your toilet, the hardest place to clean is the outer rim.
That's not a bad metaphor you did there. That works.
I know.
Ben versus Vader. Everyone wants to know who's gonna win.
Yes.
Sucks for Vader. He lost, so he's 2 for 3.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Vader lost the first time.
And I like how they put in the whole flashback on making it how his emotions can make him lose. Because Darth Vader would really kick his ass. But how they did the whole flashback, your passion is what stops you from winning.
That's right.
When even in the movies he talks about, he even says, I'm a better swordsman than Yoda. I'm already better than all these people. Why can't I be a Jedi? So he was already smacking everyone down.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure.
Yeah. Because he had more Nickelodeons. Or what is it called? I said Nickelodeons.
Mitochondria.
They had a lot of Nickelodeons. He had more Nickelodeons than everyone else. Which made him a stronger Jedi.
Yeah, the more of those, the more you can throw people.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
But anyway. But I like how they did that. So at least allowed the window for Obi-Wan Kenobi to do what he did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the justification is for him to just walk away.
Yeah, I mean...
Outside of he has to be alive in the movies.
Right, exactly. Outside of pure plot logic.
Yeah, why would he just be like, all right.
And why wasn't he more depressed knowing that he could have took him out right there and solved everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's like, that guy is like, you saw him kill like a child.
Right.
Well, I mean, not only 100, but again, you saw him do that again. He's consistently killed children.
Right, and he just confessed to killing Anakin Skywalker.
So you no longer view him as like this is now an enemy that will kill people. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't, I don't know why? Why would he do that? Why would he just walk away? He's just like, all right.
Well, because, we had to have the rest of the movies.
So it's like, I don't know any reason besides that.
Yeah, I mean, either because he felt sorry for him on some level, or he thought that, well, maybe there was still the possibility of redeeming him.
And he wanted to, evade the situation.
Okay, I'll accept that as an answer.
There you go.
What do you want to do?
Because it's like redeeming him. He's like, oh, then my friend truly is dead. And he said that twice now.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, yeah.
He's accepted his friend dying twice.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Maybe if you're going to accept it, maybe let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
It was cool. I liked when he got hit and he starts like wheezing.
Oh, that was cool, yeah.
And he starts like sounding more like an animal, like a wounded beast.
Yeah.
Getting cornered.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the lights. I mean, just the visual effects were just sick.
Mm-hmm.
Just amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the few times, too, where I believe, where it's always like, oh, why'd the villain not check to see that the hero died? And it's like, oh, I believe that Darth Vader, of all villains, would do that because he's, like, so arrogant and wants to, like, prove himself and wants to view people as not worth being a threat having been.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think originally they were doing this as a standalone. I guess they agreed to make another season. The end made sense if they weren't going to make another season. I thought it was really well done how he's obsessed with Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's been looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi all this time. Now he feels like, I got to get him even more. And the Emperor just steps in and says, why are you obsessed with this, dude? Are you the wrong guy? Right. And he just goes, all right, never mind.
Yeah.
And which explains New Hope, explains why he hasn't seen him, because he just gives up because he has to obey what the Emperor says.
Now, who can do a Palpatine voice?
No.
Why are you so obsessed with him? Do you like him or something?
Kill him. Strike out at him.
No, that wasn't bad. That was
good. All right, so Star Wars is your forte.
Okay.
George Lucas. Yeah. That's like, okay, could George Lucas do the Emperor?
No. Strike out at him.
So evil George Lucas equals Kermit. That's
yes.
Totally sounds like Kermit.
Kermit kill him. I can't do Kermit. I can do Kermit if I'm singing Blink-182.
because Kermit has to fight Miss Piggy, a.k.a. Yoda.
Oh, my
Frank
God. You just connected some dots. We're going to call you the Dot Man.
Okay.
I don't
if I like that.
Nah, you shouldn't. Why would there be a season? What are they going to do in season 2? Just
because it was so popular.
Yeah, but
season 2 is going to have Qui-Gon Jinn's lessons to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
That'll be a whole season. Yeah.
So, is it going to be about Leia again? Because
it's going to be like the movie Ghost. But you have Demi Moore now,
right, yeah.
but now you're having Obi-Wan and
Qui-Gon is going to do some pottery with
they're going to be rock
Obi-Wan.
stacking. And then their hands are going to embrace, and they're going to, stack the rocks in front of the stream.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it now.
It might actually be pretty good.
I don't know what I don't know if I would watch season 2. I assume Darth Maul would be the guy.
Yeah.
No, but they go to a mall that's named after him.
Mm-hmm.
They go to a mall. Mm-hmm. All right. So it sounds like we got nothing left to talk about. Right. We want to just fill up our Star Wars knowledge here.
Yeah.
Jetpacks. Mm-hmm. I like those. You know what I saw in the Boba Fett fight? He had a little force field, and I'm like, why aren't those used? Every time you see something be used, it's always like, why doesn't everyone have a force field?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this about the Mandalorian. I don't like that his armor is all silver. I much preferred the way he looked in the beginning. I don't like that. Like, I like how it looked like, clumps. Now it just looks like a superhero.
Or he looks like a kitchen sink.
Yeah, it's too clean. I'm like, everyone paints their armor, and then it's just shiny and chrome. And I'm like,
well, it's tough.
What is this? The kitchen
it's tough
sink?
with Boba Fett because Boba Fett technically isn't a true Mandalorian.
No,
he's a clone.
Well, yeah, but he has painted armor. His armor's green.
Right, but it's like there's always been the whole thing on him because he's not truly a Mandalorian.
Mm.
Right.
And they take that crap seriously. Like I'm telling you, watch the cartoon. You get like tons of knowledge on Mandalorian.
But was his father?
His father was a true Mandalorian.
Okay,
because he was a clone. Django.
Okay. Jango Fett was a Mandalorian.
Yeah, which he
he
ended pretty sadly. I mean, I think.
Yeah.
As for a Mandalorian,
Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
Beheaded him.
And then you see all Lucas's kids in that whole thing. I mean, they just like gave parts to everybody in there. Yeah, George Lucas's kids in there. What NSYNC is in there as Jedi?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's good. I remember they used to sell toys of NSYNC and like sci-fi armor. So hopefully that's what they were wearing.
No, they were all Jedi.
Yeah. Now I don't like the robes. I don't like.
I think the robes would be a bad thing in battle. And how do they not cut themselves?
Yeah.
That's what I always wonder. You could be the best at a lightsaber all you want, dude. But you got this thing that could cut through anything.
Which, yeah, so there's when they're like in that underwater base.
Yeah.
And he's holding the water. It's like, that's almost shot for shot a scene from The Fallen Order. But he's like, they're like, come run to us. And he outruns the water. I don't believe that happened. And then, but he's like, he has his lightsaber out and he's running. And I'm like, hey, turn it off.
Yeah.
Turn it. You're running towards like two people. Turn off your saber.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, you could. No, they always tell you not to run with scissors. You shouldn't be running with a lightsaber.
Yeah, it's like it's a press
common
of a
knowledge.
button.
Common knowledge.
Yeah. It's not like you don't have to put it away.
Yeah,
Sure.
Just press the button on the side.
Yeah.
He's like one extra step, and you're gonna cut that child in half.
Yeah. Like Kylo Ren, how many times has he cut his thigh? He has a lightsaber that 2 other blades come out from the sides.
Yeah, I don't. The lightsaber.
Yeah,
is a
very
weird,
unsafe.
Yeah.
Very unsafe weapon, I think.
Now, this is in every I guess we should add it. So when in every fantasy story, I always look for like what's their version of lightsabers because lightsabers are such a Way of Kings has they have what are called what are they called? They're called blades of some. They're called shard blades.
Shard blades.
And you bond them to your soul. Mm-hmm. And then you have to give them 10 of your heartbeats, and then this like sword will
kind of like a wife.
Okay,
has to be bonded to your soul, Anyway.
Yeah, and then it becomes like this like decorative sword looking thing. Like it doesn't look real.
That's individual to each individual person.
Yeah, but it will cut through anything. But if you hit a person with it, it will go right through them. But the person's soul just leaves their body. So it'll cut
like a marriage.
Just like a marriage. All right, let's go home, guys.
All right, guys. I know we were all over the place, guys, today, but it was fun. And it's hard to talk about Star Wars and not go all over the place.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So, Duncan, do you have anything? What does George have to say?
Well, you should watch Obi-Wan, even though I don't own it anymore. But then watch the Ewoks movie. Yeah, okay.
All right.